in general terms, what's the best option for a player to try to play physical, stay within
Man,
the
I
new
don't know,
rule?
man. Man, just hand us all some flags. Hand us all some flags and let us go out there and try to grab the flags off. Because we're not playing football. This is not damn football. When I was 6 years old, watching Charles Woodson, Rod Woodson, that Sean Taylor, the hitters, Jack Tatum, that's football. This ain't football. You got to know what the risk is when you sign up. No one wants to be paralyzed. No one wants to have head injuries. These are all things that are negative. But let's not try to turn football into a dangerous, barbaric game. This is how I've changed my family legacy. Before I got drafted, I had $368 to my bank account. That is far from the case today. I've changed my family legacy by this beautiful game of football for forever. So let's not try to turn it into some evil, dirty game. It's football. It's no different than UFC fighting. This is a combat, contact sport. There's going to be injuries. That's just what it is. But if you don't want to get injured, then don't come out here. This is for real men. This is a man's game. Ray Lewis said that a couple years ago. I stand by that. It's a man's game. If you want to be a little kid, you don't want to get your ass hit, then don't come out here because this is for grown men.
What up, everybody? It's your boy Mel from the 216 Sports Network. Okay, so for those of y'all that are not in the know or just have not heard about it yet, Pittsburgh Steelers safety Demonte Casey has been suspended for the rest of the season without pay for the hit he had against Michael Pittman Jr. when the Colts lost 30-13 last week. Now, while some people have a problem with this, I don't. Do I agree with the suspension? Absolutely not. I think it's very unfair, and the league is just trying to make a statement. Not necessarily the league, more Roger Goodell. Here's the problem I have with this. As a former football player and a former defensive football player, we are told in the secondary, we are supposed to separate the man from the ball. It's either him or you. Now, with all the rule changes, it seems pretty fair under the rule. But if you've been taught this your whole life, why is this a problem now? Case in point, the Super Bowl where the Broncos played the Packers, Steve Atwater knocked him, Robert Brooks, and a teammate completely unconscious. There was no fine. I believe it was Eric Turner, or it might have been one of those Browns players in the early 90s. Bridges Don BB to the point where he bounces off his neck. No problem. All of a sudden, even in my case, I'll even start there. Even in my case, I've hit a receiver after the ball was tipped. I got a penalty for it. Do I think this rule is unfair? In some degrees, I do, because now you're asking players to be careful about hitting another player in a contact sport. Not only is this a contact sport, it's a collision sport. You're going to have a collision. If you don't even believe me, look at the offensive line and the defensive line every play. It's a collision. Scientists have even equivalated a contact sport such as football to a small car crash going 25 miles an hour. Now, if you haven't heard it or you hear it, you saw the interview with Demonte Casey in the locker room, I understand his sentiment exactly. If you don't want us to hit, take the pads off, put flags on, and let's play flag football. But as long as the pads are on and you're paying somebody to on defense to stop the offensive player from scoring, advancing the ball, whatever the case may be, you got to let it play because he's right. Somebody's going to end up getting hurt on the defensive side because they're asking players, "Are you ready to hit me? Or ready for me to hit you now? Do you feel like you need to be hit right now?" And if you go back and look at the hit even really wasn't that vicious on his part. Pittman lays out for that ball, rightfully so, because his quarterback threw it to where he could only get it. But if you look at that play and dissect it, there was no launching. There was no leading with the crown of the helmet. He did what every defensive player now is taught. He used his shoulder. He lined it up. Can he change his Can he change his direction of motion? No, he cannot. So the hit was going to happen regardless. Okay, let's get that out the way. The hit was going to happen. Did Michael Pittman Jr. have to die for that ball? Absolutely not. He made the decision to make that play, and so did Casey. While I am in the media, I get it. It looks ugly, it looks vicious. But at the same time, you people that have been in the game, that have walked on the field, taken the hits, you guys know just as well as I do. We were taught from a very young age at our position, separate the man from the ball. make the hit. It's not always going to be pretty. I get it. But at some point, you're going to have to let the guys play the game. Football is a collision and contact sport. It's not going to change unless you start playing flag football. And if you're not going to start playing flag football, you got to give the defensive players some leverage as well, because you've given all the power to the offensive players. You can't hit the quarterback without tucking him in at night in the bed. You can't really go at the knees of a player anymore because that's going to cause an injury. So what do you expect these, especially these defensive backs nowadays, what do you expect them to do? If you don't believe me, if this targeting thing is getting out of control, go back to the hit that Denzel Ward made while he was at Ohio State when they played Maryland. A perfectly legal hit got him ejected. Do you think that's fair? No, it's not, because you want this game to be tailored towards the offense, but still give the defensive players all kinds of strife, and then make it feel like that this is going to be the betterment of the game. And what happens when all of these defensive players get hurt because they're letting up, or they're trying to make sure that the offensive player knows that they're there? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Share this video. Don't forget to check us out on the 216 Sports Network. We got a lot of slate of shows going on. Straw Brothers show will be coming up. Rico McGee's got the Rulers Minute. Jay Richardson will be coaching up, talking up basketball. So just give us a shout out, give us a like, follow, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Do you agree with the suspension or not? Holla at me.